Hi and welcome to Whiskey Shared. You're watching episode 33 of my Mystery Monthly Minis. I'm Toby and you're watching Whiskey Shared. Welcome to episode 33 of my Mystery Monthly Minis. If you've seen this before and you know it works, then you can just skip straight forward to the tasting. Otherwise, the way this works is I have over 150 samples in my sample collection, and my wife will pick one at random and put it into this blue Glencairn glass. I'll nose it, I'll taste it, I'll tell you if I like it, and I'll have a stab at what I think it is. Should we find out what I'm drinking? On to the whiskey. So before I start nosing and tasting, if you'd like to play along with me and find out what's in my glass when I do, then just keep watching. Otherwise, take a look in the description now for a sneak peek. Let's start with a nose. Okay, so this is very reminiscent of a Scotch whisky. It's quite malty. I'm getting some orchard fruits. I'm getting some dry wood like old oak barrels. I'm getting a little bit of baking spices. It seems familiar on the nose, but couldn't necessarily say if it's a particular distillery or not at this stage. Yeah, it reminds me of like a Highland or possibly a Speyside whiskey. Let's move on to the palate. This definitely seems familiar. I would definitely say it was a Scotch whisky. There's quite a lot of familiarity with this dram. There's the orchard fruits like green apples, I would say not overly sweet or not overly tart either. There's some heat and pepper, and I'd say this is quite high ABV. It was quite hot on the palate. I'd also say that there's quite a lot of dry wood, so maybe there's some reasonable age to this, maybe 12 years old at least, possibly second fill bourbon casks. Let's have another sip. Yeah, this is really nice. It's definitely my cup of tea. There's some sweetness, but not too sweet. There's decent ABV. I'd say it's 50 plus, maybe in 55 to 60. There's that, well, yeah, dry wood. I'd say, not charred oak. There's dry wood. I'd say it has some. Yeah, it's had some whiskey in those casks a couple of times before, I'm sure of it, because it does taste like a refill cask. There's not much else going on though, so I don't think it's had any finishing in any particular cask. I'd say this is definitely between a Highland and a Speyside Scotch whisky, but it is slightly familiar, but I don't know if I can nail it down any further. Let's have one final sip. There's a hint of star anise in there. I'd say potentially it could be yeah, I definitely think this is familiar. It's definitely a distillery I've had before, but trying to nail it down. I'd normally pick one, but my head's going to Ben Nevis, but my palate says otherwise. So, yeah, possibly Glenmurray, but it's quite a simplistic flavour profile, but very strong flavours in there. Should we find out what's in my glass? Right, so it's a Breaval 1997 Douglas Laing Old Particular. It's 51.5% ABV and it was sent to me by the guys at the Wessex Whisky Club. Yeah, I've only had a couple of Breavals and I own a 24-year-old Breaval. Obviously I don't know how old this is, its vintage is 97, so yeah, it's going to be at least 20 years old. You know, I don't know when this was bottled, but I guess it's at least 20 years old. So I think the age in that cask is familiar. You know, you could definitely tell it wasn't that young, but potentially 20 plus years old. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. And yeah, owning a London Whisky Club, Thompson Brothers, 24-year-old Breaval, I think maybe that's where my head was finding the familiarity, but I just couldn't nail it down. What I'm going to do after this is I'm definitely going to pull out that bottle and make a comparison. It's yeah, it's definitely a dram I want to try and compare side by side and see if the DNA is there. Breaval is definitely one of those bottlings which you don't come across very often. If you have one, let me know in the comments as always, and if there's a particular one, they tend to only be independents these days, so if there is one that you think maybe I should try that you can still get, then also let me know in the comments. I'd love to seek that out and try it. Hopefully you found this interesting, and I'll see you again next time. Stauncher.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.